On Monday, August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, becoming one of the worst natural disasters in United States history. Katrina spread across 400 miles with winds up to 125 miles an hour. The storm surge raised to over 9 meters high, which led to widespread flooding, displacing hundreds of thousands of people. The estimated damage was calculated at about $100 billion, with more than 1,000 people reported to be dead. America was horrified when they saw the TV images of cities affected by Hurricane Katrina. On TV, there's footage of people standing on the rooftops waving at the helicopter, screaming and pleading for help as the flood waters rushed into their communities. To make matters worse, about 67% of New Orleans was African American and 30% were low-income households. The government was ridiculed for not acting quick enough, setting the impression that the government neglected minorities and low-income people in their times of need. Meanwhile, the United States President at the time, George W. Bush, sat idly by without a response while he was on vacation. While the catastrophe and the after effects were happening, President Bush, for 27 days, was on holiday at his 16,000-acre Prairie Chapel Ranch in Crawford, Texas. His staff allegedly did not want to burden him with the details about what was happening in the Gulf of Mexico. However, after his staff finally told him what was happening, he decided to cut his vacation 2 days short and fled back to D.C. on the 29th day. While back to D.C., Air Force One flew over the affected areas and President Bush got a glimpse of the devastation below. The White House foolishly allowed the press to take pictures of President Bush as he looked down on New Orleans. This turned out to be a PR blunder, causing many Americans to say that Bush looked aloof, detached, and uncaring. In his book, Decision Points, President Bush wrote how his appearance was not what he was thinking. Quote, "That photo of me hovering over the damage suggested I was detached from the suffering on the ground. That was not how I felt. But once that impression was formed, I couldn't change it." Unquote. Then President Bush made another PR mistake by declining to visit the disaster area right away. His aides said that President didn't want to disrupt the rescue and recovery efforts by focusing communications and security to himself. However, many thought there were other places where there was minimal destruction to show that he was in solidarity with the people who were affected. This move made the American people think that his slow reaction and weak response to the catastrophe sullied his reputation as an effective crisis manager and decisive leader. His popularity in the polls never recovered. According to a poll done by the Washington Post and NBC, his mid-September 2005 approval ratings dropped to 42%, while 57% of the poll disapproved of his handling of the crisis. Even though he made attempts to fix his mistakes later by repeatedly visiting the hurricane zone and moving billions of dollars into federal recovery programs, the American people never really ever forgave him.